I don't know until we get into fall camp. I've been really excited. I was saying outside that I thought that this is, in all my years of coaching, I don't know if it was the circumstances of last year or not, but I think this is the most tight-knit group of incoming class that I've ever been, that I remember being around recently. So that's been really exciting. They're kind of invested in each other, and they're buying into what it is that we're trying to do here. And I'm excited to watch them work. I think I think Mookie Cooper's brought a sense of professionalism that has really impacted our team in a positive way, and I think that some of those mid-year freshmen have really made some strides during spring practice. Ryan Horskamp, Connor Tollison, some of those guys. So really excited to get to fall camp. It's a fun time of year. So.
Thank you very much.
No, absolutely.
What's going on, kid?
How are you, Andrew?
Pretty good. You got any crazy stories like Daniel Parker?
No, it's been pretty mild. It's been pretty mild considering that one. Yeah, after that one, my crazy story is everything that's happened in the last year and a half. But it's no, just getting back into. Really excited about where we're at recruiting-wise. Excited about where we are as a team, headed into fall camp here a little bit. And we've had a ton of. Shaping our roster the way that we want to get it done, and I think that there's probably been a faster flip than normally happens, and it's been, we hadn't even been here, I guess about 18 months, and it's interesting to see how our rosters come together, and really excited about those older guys that have led the way for what we're trying to establish as a culture here, and those are going to be the guys that carry us and help us win this season, and then see these newcomers and other guys that can impact us and how they gel together to become a team. So that's a big goal, I know, of ours this fall camp.
How much more comfortable are you guys now that you have a year under your belt, albeit during a weird year, but to have in-person interviews is probably a good start for you.
Hey, no doubt. So it's nervous around you guys. Don't know. No, it's been awesome, and I think that the new guys that we've added on our defensive staff have done a tremendous job of just kind of coming together with the rest of our staff, and we've been really excited about where we are as a staff right now, and I think that that's trickled down to everything we've been able to do with our brotherhood and ball and all the various things that we've done this summer with our team, and I really think that what we've done from a culture standpoint has built up, and I think we're, from a schematic standpoint, we're certainly more ahead of where we want to be. I think from a recruiting standpoint, we're kind of starting to find our niche a little bit, and we're just going to we've made a little progress here, and we're going to have to make a lot more to be able to compete at the highest level of this league.
With recruiting, what do you think has been the key for you guys? You guys are getting players that have never wanted to come to Mizzou in the past, it seems.
I don't know what they've done here in the past. I do know that, the things that we said we were going to do when we got here, we've done, and we've put major emphasis on doing that, and we've continued to pour into what this state ought to be and what this school ought to be inside of it, and how it can represent everybody on all four corners. I know that there's 4 states within this state, and having a chance to pull all those together and get everyone pulling in the same direction, and certainly have made an impact, but I think, to answer your question, it's largely it's a grassroots effort to get back in there with the high school coaches, get back in there with young prospects, get back, you got to create fans, because I think there was a quote by, a guy that we were recruiting early on that said something about him when he was in 3rd grade at a books fair, picked up a Missouri poster and hung it in his room, and you can imagine how we got to get posters in kids' rooms, you know what I mean? That's so they make sure that 5-10 years from now that they understand what it is that's, where it is that they want to play. So,
Coach, when you look at the amount of use that the transfer portal has gotten, and then the recruiting, knowing that these kids are here, does that help increase the competition for those kids that you want to get here? And then once they're here, knowing that competition is going to be coming left and right from both sides.
Are you referring to the transfer portals?
When you have that kind of access to it, you get kids that are here, they come in, they transfer in, boom, you already have that immediate competition. Kids that get recruited come in, you have more competition. So that competition just kind of gets more intense.
Sure. I think that our main goal of the roster is to to recruit better than what we got, and if there's positions where we don't have better, that we got to coach those guys to be the best their ability, and just keep matching. If you can keep pumping guys into the program that are going to make everybody better, that's what it is that we're trying to do. And I don't think that that's a sacrifice at all costs. They certainly got to fit. Coaches got a fit check that we have to do on every single prospect that has to do with focused intangibles, talented and tough, and making sure that those guys fit our program. But when they do that and they've got ability, which I think is what you're referring to, then certainly that increases everything that it is that we're trying to get accomplished here from a roster standpoint.
Casey, you already recruit against Oklahoma a fair amount, Texas maybe a little bit less, but I know we don't know when it's happening, but
right.
What does that change for you, them being in the SEC? Anything?
I think it's great. I think it's great for us. I think that's just another here they as blue blood and stalwart of programs as they've been throughout college football history, and for them to want to be a part of what it is that we're doing here that we've already been a part of, I think that puts us in a competitive position. I think that particularly in this state, which is where we said we're going to start, we're as fearless now as we've ever been, and we've got to continue to push that envelope and understand that, man, everybody wants to come to the SEC. Everyone wants to come to the SEC. I don't think there's a question anymore about which conference that the best of the best ought to be wanting to play in.
Does it change anything about recruiting an Oklahoma or a Texas kid?
I think that from the I don't think it changes our base thoughts about what it is that we're going to do. We said we're going to start in-state in all 419 schools that we identify as in-state, right? And then we're going to go within that tank of gas mentality outside of that. So we're still going to take that tank of gas. We know how historically successful Texas has been here, and we've got those 3 direct flights that come out of Columbia, and potentially a 4th, it sounds like, in November, which will help us there. And so, that's where we're going to start, in our border, tank of gas, those 3 flights, and which one of those takes us to DFW, and that tank of gas will take us about to Oklahoma City, I think. So it gives us a chance to, we got to get in the mix, and I think I think probably what it changes, maybe not so much for us, but I do think that maybe a player or a prospect that's in Oklahoma now views us maybe a little differently than the potentially they had in the past, which is good.
Back to your current roster, are you in a situation where you feel like you almost have to have a freshman be able to come in and play this year just because of numbers, or is that going too far?
There's going to be a large freshman class, I think is what you're asking. There is going to be a large freshman class.
Just at your position, I mean. Logan.
Yes, no, for sure. I think that it would be great. I got to get, either Messiah Swinson has got to step up, which he's the guy that's been in the program the longest. Certainly, I think it benefited Ryan coming in January, because he's going to have a chance to enter fall camp knowing what it is that we're doing, so he can just improve and get better and better and better. And I'd like to play as many guys as I can. So if those guys put themselves into a position to help us, then I would absolutely, love for those guys to contribute early on. So that'll just help us in recruiting.